I went to court to testify for my family, until one statement revealed someone I trusted had been lying under oath the entire time. I remember sitting there, waiting for my name to be called, trying to stay calm. Courtrooms have a way of making everything feel heavier than it already is. Every word matters. Every detail feels permanent. I wasn't nervous about speaking. I knew the truth. I had gone over everything in my head 100 times. What I saw, what I knew, what actually happened. This case wasn't just important. It was personal. It involved my family, people I trusted without question. And that's why I never doubted anything leading up to that day. Because when something comes from someone you trust, you don't look for cracks. You accept it as solid. That's what I had done. I had built my understanding of everything based on what I had been told, what I had seen, and what I believed to be true. When I finally took the stand, everything felt focused, clear. The questions were direct, simple. I answered them. Honestly, calmly. There was no confusion in my mind, no hesitation, because I believed I was helping reveal the truth. But then things started shifting, slowly at first. The opposing lawyer began asking different kinds of questions, more specific, more detailed. Questions that didn't match the version of events I had been told. At first, I thought it was just strategy, trying to confuse me, but then they introduced something I hadn't expected. A statement, not mine. Someone else's. Someone I trusted completely. Someone who had already testified before me. And as they began reading it out loud, something didn't feel right. The details were close enough to sound real, but different enough to feel wrong. Small differences at first, timings, sequences, words that didn't match what I knew. I felt it immediately. That quiet shift inside you when something stops aligning the way it should. I tried to stay focused, to answer based on what I knew. But the more they read, the clearer it became. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a minor difference in perspective. This was something else entirely. Because the version they were presenting wasn't the truth I had been given. I sat there, trying to process what I was hearing without showing it. Because in that moment, everything felt exposed. Not just the situation, but my trust in it. The lawyer paused, then asked me a simple question. Does this match what you were told? And that's when everything slowed down. Because the answer should have been easy. Yes or no. But it wasn't. Because what I had been told and what I was hearing were no longer the same thing. I looked down for a second, replaying conversations in my head. Moments I had never questioned before. Words I had accepted without doubt. And suddenly they didn't feel as solid as they once did. The differences weren't random. They were deliberate. Subtle changes that shifted the meaning of everything without making it obvious at first glance. And that's when I understood something I hadn't considered before. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't memory failing. This was a lie. A controlled, carefully placed version of events designed to sound real enough to be believed. And the person who gave that statement knew exactly what they were doing. My chest tightened as that realization settled in. Because this wasn't just about the case anymore. It was about trust. About someone I had relied on completely. Someone I never thought I would question. And now I was sitting in a courtroom, realizing they had stood in the same place and chosen to say something that wasn't true. The lawyer repeated the question. Calm, patient, waiting, and for the first time I hesitated. Not because I didn't know the truth, but because I finally understood it. I looked up, took a breath, and answered honestly. No, that's not what I was told. The room felt different after that. Quieter, heavier. Because that one answer didn't just challenge a statement. It exposed something much bigger. It showed that the story everyone had been hearing wasn't consistent. That something had been altered. And as I stepped down from the stand, one thought stayed with me. The hardest part wasn't realizing the truth. It was realizing who had been hiding it.